When we think of Holi, we think of the festival of spring, of flowers, of fruits, of blooming, of love, of hope into our lives. However, there is a deeper significance to the festival of Holi. It's the festival of faith beyond fear, love beyond borders, and sacrifice beyond selfishness. The first story of Holi is that of Prahlad, which I'm sure many of you know, that Prahlad was the son of Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu wanted him to be worshipped. However, his son Prahlad worshipped Sri Vishnu, Narayana, and he only said the name of God. He only worshipped God. But his father wanted to be worshipped as God. And because of his pride and arrogance, his father tried to find devious ways to get rid of Prahlad, from pushing him off a cliff, getting him trampled by elephants, all sorts of things. And finally, one day, he remembered that his sister Holika, she could not be burnt in fire. So he told her to sit on a pillar of fire and have Prahlad on her lap, since she could not be burnt. And so he said, you hold Prahlad, and since you can't be burnt, you will be fine, but Prahlad will be burnt. But lo and behold, what happened is that Holika was burnt and Prahlad was untouched. And so for us, this is a victory of faith over fear. Prahlad never was afraid of anything that Hiranyakashipu could do to him, because he knew that God was on his side. And when God is on our side, then nobody can be against us. And so on this day, people light bonfires to celebrate the victory of good over evil, the triumph of Prahlad. Just as in the Dasera, people have fires and burn the effigies of Ravana to show the victory of good over evil. The second is love beyond borders. One day, Sri Krishna was wondering why he wasn't like the color of Radha. He was blue because, one of the stories says, because when Putana was feeding him milk, it was poisonous milk. And because of that, Lord Krishna became blue. And because Lord Krishna became blue, he always wondered, now why isn't he like the color of Radha? And so Yashoda Maya said, why don't you put some color in Radha? And so that's what he did. And so this is the day when Sri Krishna puts colors on Radha. And the most beautiful thing about Radha is she lets herself be colored by God. She lets herself be colored in any color by God. So it's the day where we color ourselves in the color of God. Because God represents all colors. So we take the reds, the pinks, the yellows, the blues, the blacks, the whites, the browns, the greens, all colors, and we welcome them because we see them as Sri Krishna bathing all of his colors on us. And it's also the day where we are beyond borders. If we go to Bharat on Holi, nobody's looking if this is a man or a woman, or if this is young, or this is old, or rich, or poor. Nobody's checking that. People just see you and they just put color on you. And everybody does it and everyone welcomes it. So there is no border, there's no distinction, there is no inhibition. It's just welcoming everybody as that one divinity. And it's just beautiful. The next story of Holi is that of sacrifice beyond any selfishness. We know in the story, according to Ramcharitmanas, that there was this demon called Taraka. And this Taraka demon was just wreaking havoc. And the Devatas didn't know what to do, so they approached Brahmaji. And Brahmaji said, Taraka can only be defeated by the son or a child of Lord Shiva. And so what happened was, now the gods were in a frenzy. They said, now somehow Lord Shiva has to have a child. And at the same time, they knew that Parvati Mata was doing intense tapas because she wanted to unite with Lord Shiva. And so what happened was, they said, now Lord Shiva is in deep, deep, deep meditation. How do we get him to even open his eyes so that we can have this marriage, so that we can have somebody to defeat Taraka? And so they approached Kamadeva, the god of love. They approached him and they said, now you have to go and disrupt the tapasya of Lord Shiva. Now Kamadeva said, listen, this is not going to work. Me against Lord Shiva, for sure I will not survive. And I know this. But because you are asking me, I have to do it for the good of the earth. I have to place myself on the line. And this is the sacrifice that Kamadeva made. And so when he went to Lord Shiva was really, really into his tapasya. And Kamadeva tried all kinds of things to disrupt him, making the air smell nicer and the sunrise warmer and the birds chirping. But Lord Shiva didn't get disturbed. And finally, he climbed up the tree and he shot 5 arrows directly to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva opened his eye. When he opened his eyes, he saw Kamadeva, and Kamadeva was burnt to ashes. This was the sacrifice of Kamadeva. He gave himself for the world. He knew that he wouldn't win against Lord Shiva. And what happened after that was his wife, Rati, went and pleaded to Lord Shiva to bring back her husband. And Lord Shiva said, don't worry, from now on your husband will be called Ananga, the one without limbs. And when Sri Krishna takes birth in this world, then this Kamadeva will come as Pradyumna. And there you will meet him again. He will come as Pradyumna, the son of Sri Krishna. And so after Lord Shiva opened his eyes, Brahmaji and all the various devatas came. And Lord Shiva said, what can I do for you? And they said, well, we need you to get married. We want you and Parvati Mata to get married because she is amazing. She's been doing so much tapasya and it's about time. And you have to have a child that will defeat this demon. And so Lord Shiva said, that has to. So be it. So this is why we celebrate Holi. We celebrate the faith, the deep faith and devotion of Prahlad in how he stuck to God no matter what. We celebrate the playfulness of Sri Krishna and the accommodativeness of Radha to take in all colors that Sri Krishna put on her. She didn't resist. She just let herself be painted, colored in the love of God. And we also celebrate how Kamadeva, he laid down his life so that that demon could be defeated by the child of Bhagavan Shiva and Mother Parvati. Wishing everybody a happy, colorful, joyful Holi. Hari Om.